Well, hello there, and welcome back to the show. Yeah, it's been a while, but here I am, and we're jumping straight into some interesting shit that happened a couple of days ago. I wonder if you're familiar with what happened with a very interesting story. I think it's a very actually big story that a lot of people might not know about. It's kind of scary that this story actually happened. So, the DHS leaks. So basically what happened was the Department of Homeland Security has been colluding with social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MySpace.
Bullshit!
Obviously not, they don't exist. But yes, obviously not TikTok. I'm sure TikTok, Chinese owned, they weren't interested in that one.
I like China.
But they have been colluding with the major tech companies. You're basically the people, the public square. The stuff that came out is quite a bit scary. For example, documents show Facebook and Twitter closely collaborating with Homeland Security, FBI to police disinformation. Yeah, it's always a difficult disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. Those are the three things that they removed. Plans to expand censorship on topics like withdrawal from Afghanistan, origins of the COVID, information undermines the trust of the financial institutions. I mean, isn't that just crazy to you? They have been doing this. They've been. I mean, I think it started in 2018. They kind of only really kicked in mid 2019. I mean, one of the big ones that they removed that was apparently misinformation was the Hunter Biden laptop. FBI agent Laura was in communication with Facebook and led to the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story over the false allegations that it was disinformation. Now, just focus in on that one for 1 second quickly. The New York Post had their Twitter account suspended because they posted the story. They posted the documents that came from the exact laptop. Hunter Biden left his laptop with a guy. The guy went to the New York Post and gave them all the information he had copied. The FBI then came and picked up that laptop. Then the New York Post posted the story. When that happened, they came out and they contacted Twitter, Facebook, and they asked them to shut the story down, knowing that the laptop was real. Facebook, Twitter, and these guys were like, oh no, this could be fabricated. That was their argument. When questioned about it, they didn't say anything about contacting, being in talks with the FBI or any of the government agencies. They said that they took it under their authority that it looked like that. They made an assessment and decided it was misinformation. It ended up not being a misinformation.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot!
Maybe in your opinion, it didn't make that big of a difference. But to a lot of people, especially at the time during that voting period, it was really hectic. So in essence, you had a government agency meddling with the public square in order to push a narrative or to hide a narrative. And I mean, that should scare you. I mean, that should scare you very much. No government should be able to do that. I mean, again, it's against the law to do that.
My lord, is that legal?
I will make it legal.
I think in America it is. The government cannot interfere with free speech, but like they're using their power to suppress certain stories. I mean, like, funding that the government sent to the COOF laboratory, origins of the COOF, the story that, the COOF medicine somehow stops the spread. Remember that one?
Right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way. Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
Horseshit!
We've been studying germ theory for 200 years, going like, this is not how that works. They had their accounts removed. They were doctors, experts who had their entire livelihoods lost because you had social media and their fact checkers, along with now the DHS, who actually told them that they can't say these things.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
That is very scary. That is a scary world to live in. it's insane. I mean, it's actually crazy. I mean, and another thing about it is like it kind of only goes one way. You know, I mean, there's a couple of things. I made a little list of certain things. We had the Russian collusion story for 4 years, where the media came out and straight up told us that politicians, everybody going, this guy is a Russian agent.
Do you believe the president right now has been an agent of the Russians?
Yes, I think there's more evidence than he is.
Based on absolutely bullshit. Nothing. There was, what was there? The J.C. Smollett thing. You know, like, these two guys jumped me screaming, this is MAGA country. And I mean...
He said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face.
Bullshit!
I mean, what other stories were there? The Covington kids, Brett Kavanaugh rape, the Trump P tape.
CNN learning tonight that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee helped fund the research which led to the controversial and, frankly, salacious and disgusting in some of its allegations dossier that detailed alleged Russian efforts to help Donald Trump's presidential campaign.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
There was no narrative stopping these stories. It only always tends to go one way. I mean, have you ever seen fact checking by Facebook? It always leans to one side of the sort of political spectrum. And you're going, well, what does this kind of stuff matter to a South African? It kind of does, because social media platforms have the ability to be paid by government or be forced by governments to allow them to censor specific stories that are important during specific times, especially as important as during an election. That's not good. I mean, our government is corrupt as corrupt can be.
There has been recognition of corruption in the ANC.
I wouldn't want them to have the ability to contact social media and go like, we need to quash the story. Oh, like the president did something terrible and this just came out now. Now, like media companies and news agencies are just being squashed because, you know, like, well, you know, the government, these social media platforms have allowing them to. And I mean, it's also quite funny that it's happened this roundabout right now, just as Elon Musk acquires Twitter. My kind of conspiracy theory about, I think, what actually is at play here, you know, with this entire story of the leaks coming out. I mean, like, he just bought Twitter, and along with Twitter, he's buying receipts. He's buying any mail is saved. It's on their servers. He has access to every single mail, everything that they've done for the last 10 years. He has these receipts, and maybe they were thinking, again, I'm just speculating, maybe they were going, oh shit, he's got this, we better come out, we better get ahead of the story before he comes out of the story. And it could be worse. But I mean, like, the thing is, this is one of those stories where people I don't think they understand the depth and the scariness of it. And I mean, another thing that just happens right after that, and I'm going, huh? Like, really? Is this? It's like Democrats demand national security investigation into Saudi Arabia's stake in Twitter under Elon Musk. You're going, wait, just for reference, the person they're talking about is a Saudi prince who has had a stake in Twitter for the last, I think, 20 years? 10 years or something? Never did they ask for an investigation then. All of a sudden now, you see how things skew to one end. Like, I mean, if you don't see it, then like, I'm sorry, then you're blind. I don't know if there's help for you. Just read things and try and be impartial. Anyway, that's all I have. I thought it'd be interesting to see. Also, just before we go, what I thought was actually very hilarious. I don't like it. It's almost like the one ring power, you know, and we were talking about people being fact checked. It always tends to just go one side. It's like only the anti-vaxxers were fact checked. Like people coming out going like, well, you know, a cloth mask can stop, you know, an airborne thing. And we're going like, wait, no, it can't. You know, 3 months after it happened, we found out, oh, it's not spit bubbles, it's actually air, it's airborne. There's, you know, wearing anything made out of cloth is not going to do it. You need like a full-blown helmet, you know, airtight. There was no fact check on that. Nobody went and made a fact check. You understand now how, like, you can see these things tend to lean one-sided. But what was quite funny, and getting back to this whole ring of power thing, I did notice this recently on the Twitter, where the White House actually got fact-checked for the first time, I was like, my mouth fell open. It was actually very funny. And at the same time, it's like, well, they're getting a bit of their own medicine. And it's like, I think it's good. But at the same time, I don't think we should be fact-checking certain things. But you need to have a impartial fact-checker. People from, have a team of fact-checkers that are, independent from all political sides if you really want to do it. Because that's not really what happens. It's like, and this has come out in legal cases where the fact-checkers are just divisions of news companies who want to push a certain narrative. And yeah, and this is the problem. We're going to go down this... When we go down this road, it's only going to end in tears.
Stop crying!
Remember, Elon's bad now, so yeah, whatever. Well, anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you found this at least entertaining or informative, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Fun, happy to be back, Hit the things, share this with your friends if you can, if you want, if you think it's funny or entertaining or informative. And awesome. I will see you soon. Cheers!